for my number 5 quarterback, I have Davis Mills, who is the quarterback at Stanford, and he went to Houston. The only reason why I have him on this list is because of Deshaun Watson's scandal. The fact that he might not play football for next year or maybe even ever again, let alone for the Houston Texans, who he's said on multiple occasions he does not want to play for. So Mills was a top of the 3rd round pick. And he's not going to have much help, if at all, to succeed on the Texans. Their offensive line ranked 23rd last year, according to PFF. And if you just take a look, they don't really have too many guys here. They have Laramie Tunsil and Titus Howard at left and right tackle, respectively. So again, not bad tackles for this team. But then you have to go inside the offensive line and go to the interior positions and see where it's kind of struggling a little bit. They did sign Marcus Cannon from New England, who actually was a tackle for them. I guess they're sliding him inside to guard here. And they signed Lane Taylor from Green Bay, who actually I think could be pretty solid. So I think the only really question here is center, but they do, I see, have Justin Britt, who, if that's the same Justin Britt that I'm thinking of from Seattle, I think he could be a very solid center. So we'll see what happens with the Texans. I don't see much from this team still, but I think their O-line could be like middle of the pack at best. Now, if you go to weapons, they're returning Brandon Cooks, Randall Cobb, Kiki Kuti, Jordan Atkins, and David Johnson. Not the greatest. I actually kind of feel bad for Brandon Cooks, and I feel bad for all of them, but Cooks especially, because I think he signed with this team. He was traded to this team. Regardless, he was traded to this team thinking, hey, I'm going to be working with Deshaun Watson. And actually, same with Randall Cobb. Hey, I'm going to be working with Deshaun Watson. This should be great. And now he might never play again, so that kind of sucks. But Texans also added in the offseason, they added Mark Ingram, Phillip Lindsay. So they have a very, very solid running back group. It's going to be hard for any of these guys to really get any solid carries and have any fantasy relevance. But in terms of helping out Davis Mills, I think all 3 could be very solid. They also drafted Nikko Collins in about the middle to end of the 3rd round, could come in and maybe make some noise at wide receiver. They also picked up a sleeper tight end of mine, at least Brevin Jordan, who was a tight end out of Miami, the top of the 5th. I think he could be very solid, especially because he's not going to be able to start right away. Not even be able to, but not going to have to start right away, I should say, with Jordan Atkins still on the roster. There's a few other tight ends here like Ryan Izzo, Pharaoh Brown, who could step into that starter role for a little bit, let Jordan develop, and maybe he can come in later and work in dual tight end packages, or maybe even take the tight end position for himself at the end. But again, it is the Texans we're talking about, so my biggest question mark for this team is dysfunction. Similar to the Jets, but switched. I think dysfunction is rampant throughout this whole organization. They did hire a new GM, a new head coach, so we'll see what happens there. But until I see any true changing of the tide, I do think this team is going to be in the cellar of the AFC South. And then again, coaching as my second question mark. Like I just touched on, I'm just not sure what I'm getting. They signed a wide receiver coach from the Ravens to be their head coach. I could see him more as a stopgap rather than the guy long term, because he's a little bit older. So we'll see where that goes. But maybe Davis Mills, maybe they give him a shot. That's pretty much all I have here. That's my only argument, is maybe they give him a shot. He's smart, out of Stanford, so maybe they let him play. They do have Tyra Taylor, who could maybe see most of the snaps, and they also signed Ryan Finley from Cincinnati. So it's going to be a little bit of an uphill climb for Davis, who our lads has ranked as their QB number 3, technically QB number 4 behind Deshaun Watson. But I don't anticipate him playing this season. So those are my top 5 guys. I also have a few other quarterbacks that I have here. Mac Jones, who is the 15th pick in the 1st round. The only reason why I don't have him on this list is because I don't think he'll get enough playing time. I think they like Cam Newton in New England. I think they're going to really let Mac Jones develop. They're going to let him grow. Also, another big question mark, and I'm sure everyone has this, did he make Alabama, or did Alabama make him? If you ask some of the guys from Alabama, some of the wide receivers like Waddle and Smith, they say they actually like Mac Jones better than Tua. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's the better quarterback. That could just be in terms of personality. So we'll see what happens. Mac Jones is pretty much a pure pocket passer, and he probably doesn't have the mobility to escape edge rushers at the next level. So that's going to hurt him a little bit. But if he can play smart, and kind of be like a Drew Brees or a Tom Brady, not saying he's going to play up to that level, but if he can manipulate the pocket and study film like very, very greatly, then I think he could probably be pretty solid. Belichick is really good with the developing players and making them fit within the scheme. I also have Kyle Trask here, who was the last pick in the second round, and he went to Tampa Bay. Again, not really going to get any playing time, and he's just not ready. Straight up not ready. He's very raw out of Florida. And then Kellen Monde, who was top of the third round. There was like a run on quarterbacks here. Again, went to the Vikings. Not ready. Not going to get much playing time. Maybe that's more of a long-term pick. I could definitely see that if they view that Kirk Cousins isn't going to be here or even good in the next 2-3 years. I think Kellen Monde could step in behind a good run game, behind a solid offensive line for Minnesota. But for now, as far as the 2021 season, I don't see Kellen Monde having any type of fantasy relevance. Same with the other guys on this list.